Whether you drive a car,
need a car,
or just occasionally bum a ride with friends,
you've come to the right place.
Join Jill and Tom as they break down everything that's going on in the auto world.
New car reviews,
Shopping tips,
driving green,
electric cars,
classic cars,
and plenty of great guests.
This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, this is the Car Stuff Podcast. I am Tom Appel. Thanks for joining us today. When you get a chance, do me a favor, check us out at consumerguide.com. While you're there, check out our 2024 Best Buy picks. This list is a great starting place if you are looking for a new car or truck. And you can listen to back episodes of the podcast right there on our homepage. Jill.
Yep.
I was not ready. I said ready and I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I got a wad of donut trapped in my trachea. So if I sounded in any way distressed at some point along the way, that's what's going on.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
It's like a chocolate-topped donut.
Yep. So she is the Dean and Provost at Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk University. Her freelance work can be found all over the internet.
Yes.
We just found that out last episode.
We did.
And you're a North American Car of the Year juror.
Yes.
All right. Lots of stuff.
Can I also, I think I asked this last week and you granted me the honorary title of sommelier as well.
That's right. You are sommelier.
Yeah.
I don't have the vocabulary to be sommelier.
Yeah, I do.
It tastes oaky.
Oh, yeah. Then you're drinking a white wine. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. You need peppery flavors.
You and I were at a Mercedes-Benz event, I think in Chicago, and I was drinking some white wine that was very, very clean, very light, and very good chilled.
Okay.
And you had said that was because it was aged in stainless steel, not oak.
See?
And that's as far as I know about anything wine.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Also, Chianti, I remember what it is.
It's very drinkable.
Yeah, good with pizza.
And pasta.
Yeah.
And anything Italian.
All right.
Yep.
We got a lot going on today. Later on in the show, we talked to John Vincent, Senior Editor for Vehicle Testing at U.S. News and World Report.
Yes.
We'll be talking about best cars for families.
Well, best cars for EVs and hybrids.
Yeah.
But also families.
Yeah. So we're going to get to that list in a little bit. Interesting piece of news. I don't know what it means yet. I keep saying we have to get Sam Fiorani back on the show.
Yes.
This is one reason. Stellantis.
Yep.
Big old Stellantis, the company that used to be Fiat Chrysler and now is bigger.
Yes.
Is entering into a joint venture with China's Leap Motor, L-E-A-P.
I don't know that I'm familiar with this.
I don't know that I am. And every time I hear about Leap, I think it's Leaf. But it's Leap, L-E-A-P.
Right. Leap. Chinese
company, but it's a big deal, and it looks like it's going to be a bigger deal than I think we know. And not only is it development, it looks like they're going to be retailing cars for each other. Stellantis stepped back recently on its activity in China. This is probably why.
Got it.
So they may be retailing through Leap's retail network.
Leap.
So I don't know much about this, just a big deal that's going to be happening.
Got it.
All right. I had mentioned to you 2 weeks ago that I had done some very stupid polls.
Yeah.
One of them is very stupid. The other one, a lot less stupid.
Okay.
But I'm going to read the stupid one first.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Always ready.
I did this on X.
Okay.
On Twitter.
This
was
X.
a poll.
Yeah.
Are you ready? The topic
Twitter.
was best album for a long night drive. And then I gave people 4 options.
Do people even talk in terms of albums anymore?
Probably not. That was the art form.
Right.
Like as we entered the 70s, albums became a thing. It wasn't about singles. It was about a collective work of 9, 10, 11 songs.
And we've reverted back to singles.
We have, just because that's the way music is marketed now.
Yeah.
I don't even know that artists wait until they have an album before they release singles anymore. I don't think they do.
They release singles and then they release the album. So Beyonce, for example, she released the song Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
And then her full album came online a couple weeks later, I think it was.
And if you go way back to the dawn of the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, they used to cut singles.
Okay.
And then eventually put together an album.
Right.
And then they went very intentionally to albums.
Right.
And in fact, I'm going to mention a Stones album right now.
Okay. So these are the albums for a long night.
Yeah. Best album. You're checking your watch already.
I know. I'm like, when are we done with this conversation?
You're like, what is he babbling
okay.
about? Best album for a long night drive. These are the 4 choices I gave people. Dire Straits by Dire Straits.
Okay.
The eponymous first album.
Okay.
Kenny G, The Moment.
Okay.
The Rednecks, Sex and Violins. And the Stones, Let It Bleed. You just need to guess which one was the most popular.
I'll tell you the only one I've heard of.
Okay.
Dire Straits by Dire Straits.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to guess that's not the most popular. I'm going to go with the Rolling Stones one.
No, interestingly not.
Okay.
It's a great album. It's a classic album. It's one of the best albums of all time. But people pick Dire Straits. 70% of people.
Maybe because that's the only one that they've heard of too.
No, if you've heard of the Dire Straits album, you've probably heard of the Stones' Let It Bleed. Also,
unless you're me.
Yeah, do you remember the song Cotton Eye Joe?
Yes.
What a freaking nightmare. That's the Rednecks.
Okay.
Funny story about Kenny G. I had a boss when I worked in market research who had his own office. I had the office next to us. He had an office with a glass window. It was a nice office. He had a CD player on his desk, which was weird in 1995. That was money.
Okay.
He had 2 albums.
Okay.
Sitting on his desk. And the entire 2 years I worked there, those are the only albums that were ever there. One was Kenny G, The Moment, and the other was the Broadway soundtrack to Phantom of the Opera. And all I thought was if I was trapped in that office for a long time, I would kill myself.
I'm like, I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway. Hey,
No
Kevin.
answers.
If you're listening, Kevin, hey.
Hi.
All right. The other poll, are you ready?
We have questions. Yes.
Much bigger deal. Much more sensible. Are you ready?
Yep.
If you had to pick one.
Okay.
A roomy, comfortable premium electric crossover 4. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
With 200 miles of range for $38,000. With 250 miles of range for $42,000. 300 miles of range for $48,000. Or 375 miles of range for $60,000.
For me, it'd have to be option number 4.
You go the big one?
Yep.
That was actually the least popular.
Interesting.
300 miles for $48,000 was the sweet spot. Half
that makes
the people
sense.
chose that.
Yeah.
So,
I just get
here, you can look at that.
I just get very worried about, like, in the winter, 300 miles is 150 miles, you know?
Yeah, I need to talk about this too at some point, but I just recently had the Ford Mustang Mach-E Premium dual motor long range battery, and it was delivered to me. The driver did not use the heat.
Okay.
And it was delivered to me with almost 290 miles of range showing. When I got in the car, turned on the heat.
It's like 200 miles of range?
It dropped to about 200 miles, yeah. I turned on the heat, I turned on the headlights, turned on the heated seat, turned on the stereo. Whack.
Yeah.
Now, after that, it seemed like the 200 was a bit pessimistic. I was doing better than that, but still.
And so it's been a few years. I feel like it was 2020 the last time I drove the Mach-E.
Nice car.
Very nice car. But I remember when I got in, I wanted to do a range test, and I was very concerned because I feel like it was not showing a lot of miles. And it was nowhere near what the recommended, like the EPA recommended mileage was. And I remember talking to somebody from Ford, and they're like, okay, so what's happened is somebody drove it really hard before you got it. And it has adapted to that person's driving style. So it's showing you with a lot less range than what you actually probably have if you don't drive stupid. So they showed me how to do not a factory reset, but kind of a reset of the range so that it would start to learn my driving style and give me a more accurate range. And I can't even remember what the reset was because 4 years. But I remember... And I had it in the middle of winter in a snowstorm. We drove to Wisconsin and back, and I remember feeling like it was fairly accurate, and it was certainly less than what it was projected to be, but not as bad as what I thought it would be.
I'm trying to remember what vehicle I drove, but I believe Tesla does this well, where they will give you a target range and then a range around it, like worst case, best case scenario, and I think that's handy.
You know what? I recently had a vehicle like that too, and you're right. I can't remember. It wasn't Kia Hyundai. Was it the Cadillac Lyriq that did it?
I'm going to say yes.
That
would explain why we both saw it.
Yeah, I'm like, I like that is definitely in my brain. I remember, and I was just like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the Lyriq.
So yeah, that was pretty cool, and I think that's a nice way to do that, and it allows for things like driving in foul weather too, because if you're driving in foul weather, then that second axle kicks in. Yeah. And that's going to draw your battery down more. Yeah. Speaking of vehicles that don't have second axles, at least second e-axles, you recently spent time driving the Versa.
Yes.
The Nissan Versa.
You looked at me quizzically.
Because I wrote down all 3 of the affordable Nissans here, and I'm like, which is it?
It was the Versa.
Yeah. And we've talked about these 3 vehicles before. Yes. Nissan sells 3 very likable, very affordable, interesting vehicles at the bottom end of their lineup. And if you're looking for a new car, don't want to pay a lot of money, or if you know someone getting into their first car, these 3 vehicles are awesome.
Yeah, they really are.
Now, you drove the Versa. which sort of makes the case for the Versa and makes the Sentra seem almost luxurious.
Yeah, it really does. But no, I drove the Versa. I did a video review on it, and my comments.
Send me a link.
I will
so
send you
I
the
can
link,
forget.
so you can forget about it. But no, and the comments on there have been really very favorable because they're like, "Oh my gosh, finally an affordable car that doesn't look cheap," and and it's true, it doesn't.
That's it. It's a subcompact sedan. And one of the nice things about it is it doesn't look cheap. It looks really good.
Yeah.
And you can pay a little money, get the Monarch Orange, which yours was not.
Mine was like a red color.
Kind of a lame color.
Yeah.
Because Monarch Orange makes everything look expensive.
It really does. The Monarch Orange from Nissan is quite bougie.
It is like Mazda's, what do they call it? Crystal
red.
Soul?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a fantastic
Soul
color.
red metallic.
That's a good looking color.
I had hair that matched that once.
Really?
I did.
That's pretty darn red.
It was very red.
Was your head reflective?
Might have been.
Oh. So tell us about the Versa.
Yeah, so the vehicle I drove was $22,000 and it was maxed out. It was the SR trim, so top trim. It had the heated seats. The seats were still cloth, but they were heated cloth seats. It had really nice materials throughout, really nice design, really nice stitching accents. I think, like the exterior was really nice. The grille looked good. The wheel covers looked really good. And it drove really well. And I was especially pleased with it in like an urban city environment. So living in the city of Chicago, there are stop signs on every corner. And so you're like, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. And this was very peppy coming out of your stops. And it felt really good in an urban environment.
That's an interesting point. I think they're only 148 horsepower or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe 138.
No, 148 is the Sentra. It's like 128.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, not a lot of power, but it is geared for quickness off the line. So it does not feel like it's dragging you around town.
No.
In fact, the only place it's going to drag is if you need to pass someone going 60, 70.
If you need to pass, if you're on the highway trying to merge, I mean, it does take a little bit of time getting up to speed, but it wasn't.
Also, it makes some pleasant noises when you do that.
It does. But it wasn't egregious. It wasn't horrible. It did the job. I didn't feel like somebody was like, there have been cars that I've driven that I'm like trying to merge on the highway and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get hit. This was not that car. But it's funny because in my video review, I literally started my review. And I can't even remember who it was at this point, but somebody told me if I stopped getting excited about reviewing basic cars, basic sedans, I should quit because that's what people want. And I'm like, thankfully today is not that day because I was super excited to review the Versa.
I have a hard time thinking of cars I wish I hadn't driven. Honestly, I like driving anything. What I don't like is get like 3 versions of the same car in a couple of months.
Right. You don't want to talk about the Alfa Romeo
Tonale?
that shall not be named, right?
Oh, no. Again, the Tonale is not an Alfa Romeo to me. And we just talked about the Stelvio last week.
Right.
Nice car.
Yeah, the Stelvio is great. I know. I'm giving you a hard time because I know that you didn't hate the Tonale, but it was not your favorite.
No, and I think the plug-in hybrid system fails it.
Yeah.
It's just not up to Italian drivetrains, I think, and this is so much different now in 2020 than it was in the 2020s than it was in the 70s or the 80s. But dang, I mean, an Italian drivetrain sounded like an Italian drivetrain. And it wasn't some fake exhaust noise. It was like cool valve noise and just really great, refined. Italian engines and drivetrains were a thing.
Right.
And the Tonale is not a thing. It's a very common off-the-shelf.
Tell me how you really feel.
I just did.
Yeah.
I just did. But we should get back to the Versa real quick. How much was the car you were driving?
It was $22,000.
It's a heck of a good deal.
Yeah, and I feel like the base price for that car is right around $17,000.
Yeah, you can't get burned on that no matter what you do. You're never going to get hurt on resale value because you didn't pay anything to go into it.
No.
And runs on regular gas, gets almost 30 miles to the gallon. I checked Consumer Guide. Last time we drove a Versa, we got 29.6 miles per gallon. Yeah, so right around 30.
I feel like I was probably a little bit less than that, but not far off.
But you're straight city.
Yeah.
So the way I test cars now, because I don't drive to an office anymore, I take a very rural route to the health club every night. I do. So it's like I take like a 20-mile drive out west towards Barrington from Palatine, Illinois, and come back around. So I get some rural driving, and I get to speed up, and I get to hit 60.
This is my weekly jaunt on the highway.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Coming out to do the radio show.
Yeah. I used to make this drive all the time. Palatine, Illinois, into the city, not good.
Yeah, which I get to do during rush hour tonight. Yay!
All right. Any other thoughts on the Versa?
It is a great car for the money. If you are looking for a vehicle that has a lot of safety technology, including standard automatic reverse braking, this you can't beat it.
We have said an awful lot of good things about Nissan lately.
Yeah.
Apart from last week, we made fun of the Titan, which is unavoidable.
Yeah, kind of unavoidable. but no, and you've got the Versa, the Sentra, the Kicks, all incredibly affordable vehicles with great safety technology, really nice handling. They're not going to be sporty, but they're going to be solid, affordable, comfortable vehicles.
No, and I'm going long now, but to make a point, sporty is not really a thing I think that young car drivers care about anymore.
Fair.
So sporty is almost look and design.
Yep. So
the exterior design is in fact sporty.
Yep.
I think the interior is very modern and clean.
Yep.
And I think that passes for sporty these days. I think. My daughter likes horsepower, unfortunately.
Me too.
But, she may not be a typical young car buyer. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we talk to John Vincent, Senior Editor for Vehicle Testing at U.S. News & World Report. Stick around.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, we're back. This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast. I'm Tom. She's Jill. Jill, how's it going?
It is going very well, thank you.
We have a lot to talk about with our friend John Vincent in a moment, so I will be brief. Follow me on Twitter.
Okay.
I am Car Guy Tom on Twitter.
I was just going to ask, how can people follow you on Twitter?
Jill, thanks for asking. I still have some donut action going on.
I'm going to have to take the donuts away from you.
I can't eat donuts during our short breaks.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, it messes me up. Also, my iced tea is getting warm. It's less than ideal experience.
Me, on the other hand, I had a blueberry donut. It was quite lovely.
And it's gone.
It is gone. My water in my Yeti is nice and chilled, so...
I just mentioned that Chicago radio legend Steve Dahl used to refer to that weird can't form a word thing as the Spilkies. Okay. You're not amused? I thought you were amused by the Spilkies.
I was a little bit amused, but sorry, I just got distracted for a moment.
We are doing a podcast.
We are doing a podcast. Sorry. So you're telling me to pay attention?
All right. Our guest today is John Vincent. He's Senior Editor for Vehicle Testing at U.S. News & World Report. John has joined us before, and here he's back to talk about a couple of things. John, how are you today?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm well, pretty well. Jill and I are very distracted right now. We have Neutzel all over the place, and she's getting emails or something.
Actually, I'm texting John right now.
We are talking to him.
I guess maybe we just want to disinclude you from the conversation. That's all.
Oh, like my wife and anybody else.
Well, that's true.
All right. John, how are you today?
I am doing well.
So you guys have published a bunch of lists recently, all carefully considered and worth talking about. One of them was the best family cars, and one is the best EVs.
And hybrids.
And also, Jill informs me that you personally have driven the Fisker Ocean.
I have driven the Fisker Ocean. I had it for a week.
If you don't mind, I would
rather interesting week.
I want to hear about the Fisker Ocean.
We need to start with that before we get into the stuff that we actually are bringing you on here to talk about.
Tell us about your week in the Fisker Ocean, please.
So the Fisker Ocean, the bones of the car are fantastic. The drivetrain is great. The fit and finish is fantastic also because it's built by a third-party company in Austria that also makes the G-Wagon. It's a company called Magna Steyr.
Uh-huh.
So they built the car right, but the software is terrible.
Oh. Yeah.
And it's a software-defined car. So these things can be fixed, but Fisker's out of time.
See, you just said that I think as definitively as it needed to be said. Fisker's in very dire straits right now, and they're having a fire sale in the vehicles, which I'm sure you're aware of, and people can pick up a Fisker Ocean Sport for $25,000. But as you said, Fisker is out of time, and if they have software issues, you probably don't want to touch that vehicle because you're not going to be in a position to find anyone who's going to fix the software on a dead vehicle.
Exactly.
So define software issues.
Yeah.
Bluetooth phone connectivity, which is pretty basic at this point.
Yeah.
doesn't stay connected. Is always wanting to download your address book at just the wrong time. A slow, buggy screen, and no voice response. It doesn't even have the simplest voice response. Amazon Alexa's coming in the next software upgrade. Adaptive cruise control coming in the next software upgrade.
Oh, it's not available yet?
Not available. The next software upgrade, which, you know what? It probably won't ever get.
I know, may or may not ever happen.
This whole thing depresses me. I interviewed Henrik Fisker a long time ago, and we'd scheduled a half-an-hour interview, and we chatted for an hour. Like, he was just a nice guy, and he believes in what he was doing, and he's like the anti-Musk, and you so badly wanted this to work for him. But ultimately, they seem to be out of time, and this isn't going to happen, which is a shame. So you enjoyed the vehicle, but ultimately, it's just not happening.
It's just not quite ready for prime time. It's a software update or two away from being a much better car than it is today.
And it's your opinion that they can't get this sorted out before they run out of money. Well, they're out of money.
Yeah, I don't think so, and I don't think anybody's going to come in and rescue them. They made that decision that all their manufacturing is going to be done by a third-party company.
Right.
Well, that hurts them now because they don't even have the manufacturing asset to sell off to somebody else who might want it.
Yeah, the asset
So basically,
light.
all they have are their people. Exactly. All they have are their people, and they're going to get absorbed by the other design studios in Los Angeles.
It's interesting, too, the asset-light design model where they would not own the manufacturing process and then they would farm out some of the development as well seems good on paper.
Yeah.
You don't have capital up front you have to deal with. But then when you start generating revenue, you're generating a lot less revenue because you're paying someone to build your car that you're selling. So when it comes time to make money, you're making a lot less money, and they need money really badly right now. And even though they're selling some cars, it's not enough cash, unfortunately. And as they like to say on Wall Street, potentially not an ongoing concern.
Yeah.
Yep. Unfortunately, I was rooting for them, but
yeah,
we all were.
Yeah, and I love the look of the cars too. So, John, enough of the sad stuff. You guys have got a couple lists out lately, but tell us about the best electric vehicles.
So, for our best hybrid and electric vehicle car awards, we look at a number of factors, and this is all based on research. This isn't just our own opinions, but we look at price and quality, which we look at for every car that's out there. But for hybrids and electrics, we also look at fuel economy range data from the EPA and charging rates. So we looked at 96 hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and electric vehicles, and we came out with 10 winners in different categories.
Can you tell us about the 10?
Sure. Let's start out with one of my favorite cars to drive right now. Best luxury electric car, that is the 2024 Lucid Air.
All right, so I've got questions. Because, I mean, here's the thing. I will agree with you. Like, I think the Lucid Air is pretty phenomenal. But I'm wondering about their solidity. Like, we were just talking about Fisker and how, they are probably no more. But, I mean, do you think that Lucid is going to be around?
I share your concerns. These awards did not take into account, the viability of the company behind them. I think Lucid has a little bit more there
okay.
that somebody else might want.
Mm-hmm.
They have a factory. It's in a weird spot. It's in Phoenix, which is a long way from, the rest of the car manufacturing infrastructure in the U.S.
Right.
But they have a lot of patents,
mm-hmm.
and they have some assets there that somebody's going to want.
And they do have some technology, too. They've done wonders with getting range out of a vehicle. They have a vehicle that goes 500 miles. The other thing is a lot of the money behind Lucid is Saudi money.
Right.
And that's almost an endless pocket. That's a deep, deep, deep pocket. And they're talking about having Lucid build vehicles in Saudi Arabia, which one is crazy. Mm-hmm. But if they want to get to that point, they're going to have to fund this. So I think Lucid's going to make it. And they've got that midsize crossover coming too. I forgot what it's called.
Gravity.
The Gravity.
Yep. Which
I think is going to make things look a little bit greener for them too. John, what else you got?
So, best luxury electric SUV, 2024 Volvo XC40 Recharge.
Okay, that's a delightful
Volvo has
car.
some really long product names out there, but yeah.
Yeah, XC40 Recharge. Well, we'll see that Recharge go away as Volvo.
They move to the EX nomenclature.
Starts.
That car, John, though, that is a delight to drive. I love that car.
That is a delight to drive, and it's astonishingly quick for what it looks like.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, and the other thing that I really like about the XC40 Recharge is the range is accurate. Even like I drove the XC40 and the C40 kind of in tandem back from Denver to Seattle, and when it would tell us like our destination, it would give us a percentage of battery that we were going to arrive at when we got to our destination. It was within usually a couple percentage points. I think there was one that was a little bit off, but for the most part, it was spot on accurate. And I, as somebody who is trying to get used to driving an electric vehicle over long distances, very much appreciated that because I didn't feel like it was going to leave me stranded.
Yeah, so nice car. What else you got, John?
So best electric SUV, and some people will argue whether this is truly an SUV or not. I won't say how I come down on that. 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5.
And that SUV, not SUV argument will never
Totally
go
valid.
away. But that's a nice car.
It is.
It is. One thing that helps it in this competition is that unlike a lot of electric car manufacturers who package their electronics so everything's in the floor and they have a big front trunk up front, Hyundai packages their drive electronics up where the engine would be.
Yeah.
So they don't have big frunks, but they have enormous cabins, completely flat floors. When you're trying to fit a big family in and you need that center rear seat, you can't get it in a lot of vehicles.
John, to your point, that vehicle, which may or may not be a crossover, looks sometimes like a very large hatchback, but that rear seat space is incredible. And the flat floor really contributes to the sense of space. Yeah,
as the person who always got shoved in the center seat in the back, I appreciate the flat floor.
If not the glove box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or on the floor.
All right.
Yeah.
What else, John?
Or the frunk.
Yeah.
Best electric car, Hyundai Ioniq 6.
I'm down with that.
Sister car to the Ioniq 5. Very stylish. A little bit of polarizing on the styling, but a lot of people like it.
I love the styling.
Interesting car. They call it a streamliner. It's like nothing else on the road today.
I'm hoping that
Streamliner.
I'm hoping that Streamliner is an homage to Tatras of the 30s and 40s. Tatra, for people who know, Czechoslovakian car maker, known for design, and they were doing really interesting streamline work in the 30s and 40s. Beautiful cars.
So Tatra, not Tetris?
Nope, Tatra.
Okay,
Tatra, Streamliners.
Not to be confused with a
I will
game.
show you a picture later.
Got
I
it.
should post one on Facebook.
Jill and I are just nodding our heads right now.
Yeah, we are.
I'm not that old. Tatra crazy predates me too.
Okay.
What else we got,
If you
John?
say so.
Best electric truck, 2024 Ford F-150 Lightning.
Okay.
I have questions.
Okay.
No, I mean,
Of course you do.
Of course I do. No, I guess I'm just a little bit curious about why that. I mean, granted, there aren't too many electric trucks out there right now. You've got the Silverado in the work truck format. You've got the Rivian. You've got the F-150 Lightning, and that like that. I think that kind of sums up the electric trucks in the market right now, and the Hummer.
You had the Workhorse. I forgot what it was called.
Oh no, that doesn't even really.
Was that Endeavor?
They sold 40 of those, so that doesn't count. That's off the list.
I just wanted to throw
So-
it out there.
There's one more that you're kind of forgetting
Which?
that has gotten some attention. The Tesla Cybertruck.
Oh, yeah.
Is that really a truck? Okay, so why? What was it with the F-150 Lightning overall?
Quality and value compared to its competitors.
Nice.
Okay.
I also, it sold well in the first quarter. After Ford made a big deal of the fact that they were backing off by half their production targets, it might sell a little bit better than they thought.
I'm like, have they sold any 2024s though so far?
I don't
feel
know
like
if they're
they have a stop
2024s.
sale.
They might still be 2023s.
Yeah, I'm
In
like, they have a
fact,
stop sale right now.
I should check on that because when I went to go build one recently, I think it forced me to build a 2023,
It did.
which I couldn't possibly actually have built.
Right.
I'm sure I would be ordering from inventory.
Right.
But I digress, John. What else do we have?
Best luxury plug-in hybrid.
Oh.
2024 Volvo S60 Recharge.
Ooh.
This one's a plug-in hybrid, even though it carries the same suffix as the electric cars on Volvo right now.
Which is so confusing.
The S60, it is very confusing. S60 is a plug-in hybrid that, Toyota came up with the best way of describing what a plug-in hybrid is. It's an electric car for short trips. It's a gasoline-powered car for long trips.
Fair enough.
And what is the electric range on that?
You caught me off guard. I'm not exactly sure. I'm guessing most of them are, about 30 miles.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's in the low 30s. I just drove the S90
Okay.
plug-in hybrid, and I think it was like 34 miles.
Okay, that makes sense
So
to
it's
me.
going to be right around there.
I had to throw you a curveball. Sorry.
Yep, that car is the sleeper of sleepers. It's a sedate-looking, sedan, 355 horsepower.
Mm.
Yeah, kind of a hot
And
rod.
because of it's a super hot rod. And because, it has the hybrid powertrain, a lot of that energy comes right off the stop line.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rocket ship.
We've been having that conversation a lot lately. You can talk about electric car and you can talk about the horsepower of that car, but none of that tells you how quick it is off the line.
Yeah, it's all about the torque.
And that immediate responsiveness makes a car so much easier and so much more fun to drive in town.
Yep, and with an electric motor, your peak torque is 1 RPM.
Ooh.
That's my favorite fact. 100% torque at 1 RPM.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have, sir?
Best plug-in hybrid SUV, Kia Sportage plug-in hybrid.
Ah. I have not driven that.
I haven't driven it either, actually.
Tell us about that.
So the Sportage plug-in hybrid takes the Sportage, which is, a great car by itself, and gives you that commute range that's all electric. So you drive it back to work all week and you never burn a drop of gas. When you take it to the trailhead on the weekend, it's a gas car. You don't have to worry about finding charging stations. You just drive it like a car.
Which is nice. Also, Kia gets away with a very small gasoline engine, don't they? Is that a 1.6-liter engine?
I believe it's a 1.6-liter engine.
Yeah, which is surprisingly small in that application, but I have driven their hybrids with that, and it gets the job done.
Yeah. Well,
And it sounds on paper like it's not going to have much power, but because of the electric,
yeah.
it does fine.
Yeah. And I mean, plug-in, I'm a huge champion for plug-in hybrids. And, I think they're what you need right now as we bridge the gap to an electric future.
We don't have time right now. I am not a plug-in hybrid fan for a bunch of reasons.
So
If we have time after the quiz, I'll vent.
to be continued. Got it. Okay.
I am a plug-in hybrid fan. I bought one.
2 against
Wow.
1, Tom. You lose.
I don't lose.
You do.
I merely disagree. I don't lose.
So we're moving into hybrids now.
Yep.
So best hybrid car.
Toyota Camry hybrid.
Okay.
Prius-like mileage in a big sedan.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
End of its product cycle, but it's still doing well in the marketplace. Still a rock-solid car. It's a Camry.
And every single Toyota hybrid does its job well.
Mm-hmm.
The integration of the hybrid powertrain with the gasoline powertrain is not seamless, but it's very good. Most people aren't going to notice.
And better all the time.
Yeah. All right. So now moving on to hybrid SUV.
2024 Hyundai Tucson hybrid.
Excellent.
Corporate cousin to the Sportage.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The Tucson hybrid. We just saw the new version of the Tucson last week in New York.
Yes.
And it fixes a lot of the sins of the 2024, but the 2024 actually doesn't have that many sins. It's a pretty good car already. Great mileage. It just, it's another one of those cars that just works. It's not very exciting, but it just works.
Now, I don't know if you know this, and this is a little bit outside of the scope of this conversation, but can you get them at this point in time? There was during COVID, especially, it was very hard to get a Tucson hybrid, and people were scrounging to find them, and they were just not to be had. Are those now in the supply chain?
Yeah, I think they're pretty commonly in the supply chain. I'm guessing that in some states it would be harder to find a non-hybrid Tucson than finding a hybrid right now.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, because I had people, friends who were trying to buy one, couldn't find one for a long time.
Yeah, there are some automakers out there where in some states you can only buy their hybrids and their plug-in hybrids. You have to special order the gas-only version.
Yeah, there's a weird 4xe conversation to be had there. Very strange Jeep situation.
Right.
Yep.
Which Jeep did not make this list because your final vehicle is a luxury hybrid.
Luxury hybrid is the 2024 Lexus NX hybrid. Basically, once again, a Prius powertrain in a luxury subcompact SUV.
And is that like the 350h?
450h.
450. I thought 450.
450h is plus is the plug-in hybrid.
Yeah. So is it 300, 350? I don't know. We're like semantics. But yes, the NX hybrid.
Lexus has completely lost me with their numbers.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
This happened when manufacturers started to go to 2-liter turbocharged engines and didn't know how to designate them. Mm-hmm. And for a while, we had T's after things for turbos or pluses, or they would just elevate the number.
Lexus used to make sense because like the 350 was the 3.5-liter V6.
Back in the late 70s and early 80s,
doesn't make sense anymore.
BMW used to sell a 633i. You know what size the engine was? 3.3 liter. Because it made sense.
633. 3. Okay.
3.3 liter.
So let's just call it the Lexus NX.
Yes.
And be done with it.
Yeah. Again, Lexus powertrains, surprisingly good. The hybrids.
Yeah. I mean, Toyota has just, they've nailed the hybrid technology, and everything that they put out, I feel like, is just super smooth. Because so we're looking at this list, and you've got, two Toyota Lexus vehicles on here, but Hyundai and Kia, they seem to rule the list.
Kia and Hyundai rule the list on all of our awards, and it's because their vehicles do very well in all of our rankings. We just had our best cars for families come out, and when you look at the Kias and Hyundais on that list, you think a family that has a kid in first grade, their car will still be under warranty when that kid is in 10th grade.
Right, when they can start driving it.
And break the engine that's still under warranty.
Right.
Exactly. Well, they'll probably break the rest of the car first.
Yeah, probably.
Fair.
John, we've run out of time. Where can we go to check out this list?
usnews.com. Click on the Cars tab.
Sounds good. John, as always, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, that was John Vincent. He is Senior Editor for Vehicle Testing at U.S. News & World Report. We're going to take a break, and when we come back...
It's quiz time.
It's quiz time.
I'm so excited.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, we're back. This is the Car Stuff Podcast. I'm Tom. She's Jill. And Jill has been doing research during the commercial break.
Because we go on tangents.
You have decoded Lexus.
Well, I don't know that I've decoded it, but I have information.
It seems like I knew this at some point, and it just fell out of my head. So we're going to go through the Lexus NX lineup.
Yeah. Just briefly.
Because we're geeks.
And we went down the rabbit hole. I like rabbit holes.
All right. So the base Lexus NX is?
So you have the NX 250, which has a 203 horsepower inline 4-cylinder engine, so a non-turbo.
That is the base 2.5 liter 4.
Yeah. So then you have the 350.
Okay.
And that is 275 horsepower inline turbo.
So that's the 2-liter turbo.
Right. So you have the then you just have the F350 or the 350F Sport, which is the sport badging, whatever. Then you have the 350H, which is the hybrid powertrain,
right.
And it's 240 horsepower. And then you have the 450H Plus, which is 304 horsepower plug-in hybrid.
And things get super weird when they try to get you horsepower for a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
Because you can't just add the peak horsepower of the gasoline engine and the peak horsepower of the electric motor because they don't happen at the same time.
Yeah.
So the advertised horsepower never makes sense. No,
it's a net combined whatever. So,
yes.
but I do want to say, so you have the 250, which is front wheel drive and all wheel drive, and the base price is $41,000. And then when you get into the 350, it's all-wheel drive. You don't have a front-wheel drive option anymore.
So all the turbos are all-wheel drive.
Yeah, and then you max out. There's an F450H Plus
plug-in hybrid
sport handling all-wheel drive model, and that maxes out at $63,000. I think like from $41,000 to $63,000 is a really nice price range for a really nice SUV.
I never loved the NX. I need to spend more time with it.
I like the NX.
The first NX I didn't like, and I didn't really like the UX. And part of the problem, that's their subcompact.
I like the UX too.
Part of the problem is that up until now, and now, the RX, their midsize crossover, has been so darn good.
Yep.
And it's funny because it's also fake. If you look at an RX, if you look at a Lexus, you think crazy sporty. And then you drive it, you're like, oh, it's a seriously refined luxury vehicle that is not really very sporty.
I mean, when you get into the plug-in hybrid powertrains, I think it's sportier.
You're getting some muscle. But the handling isn't sharp. It's just good.
Yeah.
What it does is it's incredibly refined. The ride is really good. Mm-hmm. It's really quiet. And the drivetrain refinement, even in the hybrids, is super solid.
Yeah.
Okay, we're burning time here that we don't have.
Right. So social media, I got to talk about that really quick.
That's where I was going next.
Good.
I would not forget your social media.
Yes, you would. You'd skip right over it if you could.
Moving right along.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the things, post threads. You can find me at Jill Ciminillo, and I use the hashtag Car du Jour.
Do people ever check in having heard the podcast?
I do think, yes.
Okay.
And it's what's really funny is, so I do a second podcast with my boss, Tim Esterdahl, talking trucks.
Like Monday nights, right?
Yeah, usually Monday nights. It sometimes ends up on Wednesday, depending on our travel schedules. But at Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. And I have people who listen to both podcasts. And I have to tell you, somebody chimed in on one of our last live streams and was very, very upset that I did not know who Uhura was.
Yep.
Yeah, there is some crossover.
Frankly,
going on.
I think that's a cultural failing on your part. Uhura.
Yeah.
Uhura's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know who Marshall Dillon is?
No.
Because producer Randy and I were just talking about Marshall Dillon.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be the lead character in Gunsmoke. I'm very happy to learn, digging into this, that Gunsmoke is as appreciated as it is.
Okay.
Truly a groundbreaking show.
Okay.
And very well regarded. So that makes me very happy because I've watched a lot of Gunsmoke.
Yes, you have.
And it's good.
Isn't it quiz time?
Also, Bonanza. Bonanza kind of sucks.
Moving on.
Hey, Jill, it's quiz time.
Yay!
I've got a great one for you this week.
All right.
You're actually going to be interested in this one, I think.
Oh, okay. It will be better than the last quiz I did a couple weeks ago where I bombed it.
Yes. You may not. This one's got some tricks in it, but I don't think you'll bomb it. Are you ready?
I am ready.
It's this easy. Ready? Premium or regular?
Oh.
I'm going to give you a car.
Okay.
Specific drivetrain. You have to tell me if it uses regular gas or premium gas.
Is it recommended or required?
It is recommended or required. And I'm glad you asked this. This is what they tested the vehicle on for the EPA testing.
Okay.
So this is what the EPA used.
Okay. So it's
generally recommended or required.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
The 2024 Subaru BRZ. That's the sporty little car that is also sold as the Toyota GR86.
Which was once the Scion FRS.
That's right. That was the Scion once. 228 horsepower, 2.4-liter engine. That's the only drivetrain. 6-speed manual or an automatic. I think it's a 6-speed automatic. Does that car require premium, or can you get by on regular? You can always get by on regular.
But
yeah.
That's a tough one, but I'm going to say regular.
No. I was surprised because it's kind of an affordable vehicle.
Yeah.
And the horsepower is not huge.
Right.
All right. You have Jill.
No points.
You have no points.
Was that a turbocharged engine or not?
Nope. No, it's
That's
just
very
it's just kind of a big four.
Okay.
All right. The 2024 Cadillac XT6 V6. That is Cadillac's midsize 3-row SUV with General Motors' excellent 3.6-liter V6. Does it require premium?
Now you're just going to mess with my mind because I would immediately think luxury brand.
I am going to mess with your mind right after this because I've got some really follow-up facts that are crazy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use the word premium.
No. But, I'm going to say premium.
No.
Yeah. See, like I said, you're messing with my brain.
Here's where this gets messy.
Okay.
You can get the vehicle with a 2-liter turbocharged engine. That's 235 horsepower. Requires premium. But the V6, if you step up to the V6, you can get by with regular. Also, your fuel economy only drops by 2 from 23 to 21. I would just always get the V6 because you're going to be saving money on gas.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
All right.
I got a surprise one here for you, I think. The Ford Mustang Dark Horse. 5-liter V8. 500 big horsepower.
If you're going to say this is a surprise, then I'm going to say regular.
Regular.
Thank you for the cue.
I love that it runs on regular.
Yeah.
It's kind of true to the pony car thing, where a pony car wasn't some crazy exotic car.
Right.
It was just an American small car stuffed full of big V8.
Yeah.
All right, you're on the board with one.
Woo!
Are you ready?
Yes.
This gets tougher. We were just talking about this car. The Volvo XC60 T8. That's the Recharge plug-in hybrid. Premium or regular? You got a weird thing going on. You got like European sophistication, but also you've got like a green mission. It's very confusing.
It is very confusing.
Yeah.
I'm going to say regular.
Premium.
Oh, good grief.
That's so disappointing.
It is disappointing. All right, so I feel like I've already lost.
Well, you need to get 2 more, and there are 2 more available to you.
So I guess we haven't really said the rules. So there's 5 questions, a bonus, and I have to get 3 out of 6. Including the bonus.
Wow, I forgot what the bonus question was. Clearly I was drinking.
Water?
No.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Last one, you need this one.
Okay.
Volkswagen Atlas. Now powered exclusively by a 2-liter turbocharged engine of some power, 269 horsepower. All the Atlases are the same, so.
My instinct is to say premium, which means it's probably regular. I'm going to say premium.
No, it's regular.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're getting a fair amount of horsepower out of that on regular. 269 horsepower runs on regular. You did not win this week.
No.
But I've got another one question for here. According to dailymeal.com.
Okay.
Meal, M-E-A-L, Daily Meal.
Not M-E-E-L?
No, M-E-A-L.
Or M-E-L-E?
Yeah, you're messing with me.
I am.
According to Daily Meal,
okay,
which of the following is not a popular chicken chain in the U.S.? Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Slim Chickens. Church's Texas Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Bonchon. Or Terry's Cincinnati Fried Chicken.
I'm surprised you didn't have Mother Clucker on there.
No, but I didn't want to go with anything easy. These are all regional. So Slim Chickens, Church's Texas Chicken, Bonchon Chicken, or Terry's Cincinnati Chicken. One of those is fake.
I have never heard of any of these.
Really? Good. Then I did my job.
You 100% did your job.
One of these has an interesting story.
I'm going to say Bonchons.
That's real.
Okay.
Yeah, they're out of South Korea. They have 100 locations in the U.S. now.
Okay.
And there's one, I think, in Glenview.
Huh.
So there's one in the Chicagoland area. Church's Texas Chicken is Church's, but for different markets, they call it Church's Chicken, Texas. I didn't know that.
Okay. Slim
Chickens is real. They have about 200 locations, all in the South. And Terry's Cincinnati Chicken is fake.
Okay.
Very good. I can sign this for you if you want, but it would be an autograph of shame.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, we got 5 minutes left. What else you got going on?
What else have I got going on? I don't know. I mean, I have some cool cars coming up. I have the new Mini Clubman coming up to drive, and I think you just drove that.
Yeah, it's the new last Clubman.
Yes.
Clubman is going away.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to driving that because it's been years, I think, since I've driven a Mini, and I have very fond memories of the Clubman.
When Mini first came out, whenever it was, 15 years ago or so, they were very, very affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And that changed, unfortunately, and I think that changed their fortunes in terms of sales volume. But I just drove that vehicle, and it's fun because it's got like the barn door rear hatch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's reasonably spacious. It's a little hard for me to get in and out of that vehicle. Mm. But unlike all the other Mini products, it's not available with a 3-cylinder engine. So you start with a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine, so more power to start with. And you're probably driving the S, the John Cooper Works edition.
Yep.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Very quick. It's a light to drive. The only bummer is there's no stick. And this is exactly the kind of car where you would really like a manual.
Yeah. Well, I remember, so way back when I first started writing about cars, my sister who lived in California was starting to look for a new car, and she wanted a convertible. She wanted something small. She wanted something cute. And I said, okay, you need to go get a Mini Cooper S. And she did. I want to say she has a 2005 Mini Cooper S and still has it. And just loves it, but convertible and
Does she have any problems with it? Because Mini's kind of known for some reliability issues.
She has had, I know she has had some issues. I couldn't tell you exactly what they were, but it wasn't enough for her to get rid of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And to be honest, she has been helping out with my parents for the past couple of years. And so she left the car in California and she hasn't been driving it too much over the last couple of years. So if there was anything major that was happening recently, I am completely unaware, as I'm sure she is.
Yeah. We said the Clubman was going away. We should clarify that the Clubman is a little station wagon.
Yeah.
Delight. And the rest of the Mini lineup not going away.
Would you call it a station wagon?
I would. I would. You can call it a hatchback if you want to, but the base Mini is a hatchback, and this is a derivation of that.
Right.
So I guess that makes it hatchback-y.
Because, I would almost say SUV-ish.
Nah, I think it's too low, and that's what the Countryman is supposed to be in their lineup.
Yeah, fair.
When Consumer Guide, way back when Mini was new, Consumer Guide had for a year a Mini Clubman. Mm-hmm. And back then there was just a 1.6-liter engine, no turbo. Mm-hmm. I think it was a 5-speed manual, not a 6-speed. One of our most popular cars. It wasn't fast, but it was a delight to drive. The engine was great to string out. We were getting 35 miles to the gallon. What a great car. That car was also like $22,000. Mini prices aren't where they used to be.
Yeah. And back when my sister bought her car, it was pretty affordable. And, continuing with the Mini conversation, funny story for you. I can drive a manual transmission, as can you. You did not stall the Mustang. Kudos to you.
I did at some point learn to drive stick, yes.
But whenever I drive a BMW product, and it was very, very noticeable in the Mini, I have a really hard time getting it into reverse. Because there's, with the manual transmission, because there's kind of like a little gate that you have to push through to get it into reverse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of extra effort.
Yeah, and
sometimes it's a pull-up ring, like in the Mustang, but in this one, it's actually got to force it.
You've got to push through the gate
to the next little lever of the H.
So here's the problem: because I'm short and I drive with my seat in the far forward position, my arm was kind of at a weird angle to push the gear, so I didn't have enough torque in my arm to push the gear shift into reverse. And so I have a friend who lives in Northbrook who has a Mini Cooper with a manual transmission. She was like, you know what? Maybe this new manual transmission is just, it hasn't been loosened up. Why don't you come drive mine? So I drive hers, and same problem. And she was laughing at me hysterically. So
you lack upper body strength.
I do not lack upper body strength. The problem is the seat is far forward, and I don't have torque. Yeah.
Jill has no torque.
Yes.
I'm making that, just putting that in my notes here. Mm-hmm. Guess what we did?
We talked a lot. I mean, we have 55 seconds left, but yeah.
55 seconds is enough time to thank John Vincent.
Yes.
Senior editor for vehicle testing at U.S. News & World Report. We will have to have him back again on soon.
Yes.
Thank you, Jill.
Yes.
Thank you, producer Randy. Mm-hmm. That's the show. Let's talk more about cars again
next week.
Remember to check us out at consumerguide.com.
The Car Stuff Podcast is produced by J-Turn Media.
To advertise on the show, please drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.